Think about who you were 5 years ago, your habits, your friends, the way you spent your weekends. You've likely changed, yet you still feel confident that you are the exact same person. But what actually anchors that identity? In the 17th century, philosopher John Locke proposed what became known as the psychological continuity theory. He defined a person as the same thinking thing in different times and places. Essentially, Locke argued that human identity is a biological hard drive. If you have a continuous chain of memories connecting you to a past action, you are the person who committed it. This logic is deeply embedded in our culture. We see it constantly in movies and literature. A character suffers total amnesia, and we are told they have lost their self. The theory suggests that when the memories vanish, the person goes with them. Equating identity with stored information feels intuitive, but this metric struggles to account for the reality of clinical trauma. When speaking with the families of patients suffering from profound memory loss, in cases like advanced Alzheimer's disease, they rarely claim their loved one has vanished. Even when the patient cannot recall decades of shared history, relatives often insist the core of the person they love is still present. Contrast that with individuals battling severe addiction or patients with specific types of frontal lobe brain damage. Their memories of the past remain perfectly intact, yet because their behavior and character shift, families frequently report that the person they knew is gone. If an identity can survive the erasure of the past, but is destroyed by a shift in character, then memory is not the primary glue of the self. To find the true anchor of identity, experimental philosophers moved these debates out of the armchair and into the laboratory, using data to test assumptions. Imagine a test case. Jim gets into a severe accident. Researchers asked what specific changes would make him a different person. If Jim suffers total amnesia or loses physical sensation, participants agreed he is still Jim. But what if he loses his moral conscience? This chart shows the results of those responses. When evaluating what disrupts an identity, changes to moral traits, like a loss of honesty or empathy, carry significantly more weight than memory loss or physical changes. Researchers ran the same tests across different age groups and continents, even surveying Buddhist monks in India. The data remains completely consistent across cultures. Psychologists call this the moral self-effect. The data indicates that we define each other by moral character, rather than the information we happen to store. The data also reveals that the direction of the moral change matters. We judge an identity as destroyed much faster when someone loses their morals than when they suddenly gain new virtues. This happens because we tend to perceive a person's true self as inherently good. When someone degrades morally, they depart from who they are. When they improve, they return to that core. We can map this bias to physical anatomy. When you think about yourself, your brain relies on the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, a region located right behind your forehead. fMRI scans reveal that this exact same region is also the brain's primary center for processing value and calculating reward. This biological overlap means that to the brain, knowing who someone is and knowing what they value are the same calculation. It suggests that identity is not a neutral record of events, but a continuous assessment of a person's social and moral worth. The moral self-effect shapes the logic of our highest stakes institutions. In many legal jurisdictions, parole boards weigh an inmate's moral rehabilitation more heavily than their behavioral record or time served. By prioritizing character shifts over the length of the sentence, the state is recognizing that a morally reformed prisoner is a different person than the one who committed the crime. We see the same logic in bioethics. Some patients undergoing deep brain stimulation for Parkinson's disease report that while their motor functions return, they feel like a machine. They lose their sense of passion, and with it, their sense of self. Neuroethicists are now urging the medical community to treat moral functioning as a primary vital sign, tracking a patient's character and values with the same urgency as their physical recovery. At a biological level, you are not just a collection of past experiences. The evidence shows that your identity is a moral compass. What you value and how you treat the people around you is what makes you, you.